Hi, this is Misha Mansoor from Periphery, and you're watching LINEA ROCK.
Welcome Misha, welcome to Italy, and welcome to LINEA ROCK. Thanks for being with us. And this is your second show tonight. We're in Milan,
Right.
21st of February, so you're about to open for Dream Theater in Milan. You played Pordenone last night, and how was the show, and did you enjoy Italian crowd?
That show was our first Italian experience. It was a lot of fun. The crowd really seemed to be into us, which is on this tour, obviously we're the support band, and 99% of people are here to see Dream Theater.
Right.
But it was good to feel a little bit of love last night. It was probably one of the best crowds for us of this whole tour.
You mean one of the best ever, or this tour?
Of this tour.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying, like, given the fact that most of these people have never even heard of us before.
Yeah.
So it's good to get a good response. Oftentimes, even if we get a good response, it'll be afterwards, but like they'll just kind of take in our set and just stand still. But there they were rocking out. They even had some mosh pits and everything. It was really good vibes.
And is it hard to open for such a band like Dream Theater?
I told John directly. I was like, it sucks to be an opening band for you guys because they're just they're at a level that, like, very few bands operate.
Yeah.
And they're so professional and they're just so epic. It's like you can put your best show on and you just will never compare. So it's very, very tough. Not to sound ungrateful, because we're very, very grateful to be on this tour. But we definitely have to be on our A game at all times, and we definitely have to put on a good show and play good and sound good and all that, because if you don't keep up with them, it's going to be very, very apparent.
Since Periphery Foundation in 2004, 2003, 2004, you've been playing a lot all over the world, doing great tours, like with the LINEA ROCK Escape Plan or Lamb of God. Now you're doing Dream Theater. How big and important is this tour that you're doing now in Europe for you at this point of your career? And how do you think that your music appeal Dream Theater audience, actually?
Well, I'd say that this is definitely the biggest tour that we've ever done, by far. It's the biggest tour. So it's a huge opportunity for us, but also a huge personal goal. Everybody in the band has been a Dream Theater fan since, for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I think
since the 90s.
Since I was like 14, I've been a Dream Theater fan. So that's a huge personal achievement just for me. But at the same time, shut up. But at the same time, it's a huge opportunity for the band, because we've just never been able to play to audiences like this before. And there's something to be said for playing to people that aren't already your fans, because, if we do a headliner or whatever, we're playing mostly to our fans. We're not really expanding as a band. It's just kind of catering our fan base, which is good and fun. But on this tour, we really get to play to a lot of people who would never have heard of us any other way. So I think it's a really good opportunity in that sense, even though it may not be initially as satisfying as playing to a crowd that's like absolutely head over heels about you. It does give you the chance to get out there in a way that we would never be able to, and on a scale like playing to thousands of people every night in cities we've never played before. It's an incredible opportunity. As far as how the fans are receiving us, we're a progressive band, but we're a much newer one, so I'm sure a lot of them are being a Dream Theater fan myself, I know how snobby some Dream Theater fans can be, because, I can just relate. Dream Theater is one of the few progressive bands that I like, so it's a tough position, but we have catered our set to be on the more proggy side of things. We're playing our 15-minute long epic song on this tour, and you can do things like that. So I think overall the reaction has been pretty good. We've gotten a lot of good feedback from people like, I've never heard of you guys before, but I'm glad that you guys opened up. So it's been doing all right.
Great. So Italians and Europeans as well are starting, to know Periphery better. Also thanks to this tour. But you've been defining the future of metal, which is such an important statement.
We probably just paid someone to say it, so I'm glad we got our money's worth,
But I mean, it's an important statement to live up to, isn't it?
I don't actually like hearing that, because when I started this band, I just wanted to make music, the kind of music I want to make. And we're still doing that. Now we're all making the kind of music that we want to make together, but that's the only goal. And I feel like when you have, it's really cool to get called that, but at the same time, it makes these impossible expectations, like the future of metal. What does that even mean? I don't know how to be the future of metal. I just know how to make the kind of music I like to make, and hopefully people will like it. But it can be a little stressful. I don't like to think about things like that.
And could you tell us more about the philosophy behind the band, origins, and the meaning behind the band's name?
The meaning, there's no direct meaning behind the band's name. The band's name was chosen because I remember when I was choosing names, so around 2004, 2005, I was looking at band names and there were just so many metal bands. I knew I wanted to be in a primarily metal band, right? Progressive metal. And I was like, so many bands, you could just see their band name and know exactly what they sound like.
Right.
They have like Death and Blood and whatever. And I wanted a very ambiguous name. And Periphery seemed like the kind of name that you could name any style of music. Okay. It could be your band name. So the idea was if you'd never heard of us before, you wouldn't have any preconceptions about what we'd sound like.
And you got curious about it.
Right, yeah, exactly. And you'd have no idea what we sound like. And that would hopefully let you listen to us with a little bit more of an open mind.
Yeah.
Also, hopefully things would hit a lot harder. If you're not expecting us to already be heavy, then it might hit a lot harder.
Yeah. Your style combines complex rhythms, technical precision. You have a prog attitude, of course, and sensational brutality in your performance. Somebody called it math rock. If we want to label it some way. How did you come up with this atypical mix of sounds and styles, and which ones you call your main influences?
I mean, honestly, it's just what happens when I write. There's no, in fact, I don't like the label math rock because math rock sounds very calculated. It sounds like you sat there and you're like, I want to make confusing music, or I want to do anything. And my approach to writing and our approach in general is very fluid. It's just like jamming around, like, oh, that sounds really, really cool. So let's do that.
Yeah.
But it's never like, oh, let's do like this time signature and then that time signature. I don't really know theory, so I can't really rely on it. I just use my ear for everything. And that would be the way that we approach everything. It's very just I have a riff idea or whatever, and a song will come out of it. I won't even know what it sounds like. So that's why label is very hard for that. At the same time, like the influences, there's bands like Meshuggah, Sick, Dream Theater is a huge influence. Video game composers like Nobuo Uematsu. Deftones, like there's a lot of influences, and in later times it's been a lot of electronic artists. Because when you're in a metal band, you start to get tired of metal. Like when you're surrounded by metal, so you want to start listening to a lot of other stuff.
Okay. I know that your stream of inspiration is endless in a sense. Despite you released the typical way, let's say, on record, just one eponymous studio album and one EP, which is Icarus. You have more than 100 songs composed and recorded, is that correct?
Yeah, on soundclick.com. That's just, over the years, just uploading demos and ideas.
Yeah, and I heard that you shared that on your official website with the fans, that you also trust their feedback, their requests. I mean, how can you explain how this works, actually, and how did you get the idea to do something like that?
Well, first of all, we don't have an official website. It's just on the SoundClick. There was no idea. That's the thing. It was just, I would just record ideas, I'd post them up. I made them free because I figured no one would want to pay for it. It's just ideas,
Okay.
And I just would do that instead of going to school. Or when I eventually dropped out of school, then I'd work, but in all my free time.
Where can people find? I mean, is this?
It's www.soundclick.com/bulb.
Okay.
It's all free if you sign up there. And people have uploaded everything to YouTube as well. Like, it's fine. Honestly, that music is up there for free just because I just wanted to share what I was doing and posted it up on the forums. Enough people seem to be into it to encourage me to keep doing it. And then whenever I have a new song idea, I post it up. You know.
And how did you get the deal with Roadrunner? How did it happen?
I mean, that happened after a lot of negotiation. Like the first time we got contacted by them was way before we signed with them, but things came together in like I think 2009. In the summer of 2009 was when we started talking, because that's when it was looking like our album was gonna get finished, and they were like, you know, we were looking at labels that could pick it up.
Yeah.
And we're on Sumerian Records in the States.
Okay.
But I wanted for the rest of the world to have a label that had a strong worldwide presence, and I was like, who would be more appropriate than Roadrunner, you know? So that's when that all came about.
And do you think that the web helped also you getting the deal?
I think that the web is the reason that we have anything.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think anyone would care about us if it wasn't for that, and especially not in other countries, you know? It's crazy to think that you have fans in countries you've never even heard of because of the internet, but it's
so
true.
that is actually the ultimate vehicle. I mean,
absolutely. I say we were born and bred on the internet, which is very backwards from how a lot of bands, you know, traditionally would start out by touring around and expanding their radius of where they tour and eventually going international. In some ways, it made it harder. In some ways, it made it easier because you have patches of fans all over the world rather than like in a centralized location. But it's worked well for us, you know.
Yeah. And which is your ultimate goal right now?
I'd say my ultimate goal is just to turn this into a sustainable business, into something that can pay enough that I can live off of it and not have to do other work to that is, believe it or not, in 2012 is a very, very lofty goal. It's very, very hard to get to that point where it can, you know, your band can support you entirely, just because there's no money in it anymore, with everyone downloading. So ironically, the very thing that got us to where we are is the thing that's going to stop us from really making money off of it. But it is what it is. You can't really complain, so you have to just get creative with it and see what you can do.
And how cool, and on the other hand, how difficult, how hard is to balance the personalities of three guitarists within the band, being you one of them. Actually, is it very, very hard, and how do you deal with it?
Well, you know, honestly, I'd say the reason that we've had the guitarists that we've had is because of how well we got along and how, you know, everyone has been on the same wavelength. We recently got a new guitarist because last year our guitarist Alex Boyes left. But Alex never really contributed musically. He was more on the business side of things, is where he contributed. I mean, he did a lot for the band, but just not musically. I didn't really mind. It's like, you can contribute if you want, but you shouldn't feel forced. But we brought in Mark Holcomb because exactly in the same way, like, Jake can write with him really well, I can write with him really well, I can obviously write with Jake really well. So we're all on the same wavelength. So it's almost like you don't really fight about stuff because one thing that sounds good to us sounds good to them. It won't be like, oh, that sounds terrible if I think it sounds good, you know? At least we haven't encountered that yet. I think that's a mentality with the whole band. You know, I started the band myself, and everyone who's joined has joined as a fan, and I think that has led to, you know, the ease with the sound, because everybody has joined knowing what it sounds like and you know, understanding what I'm going for, and then they bring in ideas that are on that same level, and it's like, I never would have thought of that, but it's exactly like in that framework that I like to hear.
Great.
So we don't really have problems like that.
No egos involved at all, not yet. Actually,
you can't have an ego in this music industry. We're broke. You know, we live like bums. You know, like there's no reason you could ever justify having an ego in this industry. You're constantly just beaten down. You know?
So you're working on a new album at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we have any anticipation on that? And do you think that even after this tour, maybe it could be the right moment for Periphery to make it real big?
Well, as far as the album goes, it's something that I'm very, very proud of, and it's something that I'll say, you know, for once everybody really contributed. The last album was mostly me, and
this is more the band.
Yeah, this is much more the band, and especially the vocals. Spencer joined like right as we were finishing up the last album. Our old vocalist didn't write anything, so it was up to our old bassist Tom Murphy and I to write everything. We're not vocalists, so it was kind of, and it was a rush job at the end with the vocals and everything. But this time we took our time. Spencer wrote all his own vocals, so I feel like that really is a huge improvement. And the songwriting in general, since we have everybody contributing, I feel so much better about it. As far as making it big, I don't know that we're playing the right style of music to make it big. And the truth is that that's never been a motivator.
You never know.
You never know.
I'm not gonna. It's not the easiest band on earth, but they make it big.
Well, the thing is that like I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm also not looking. I'm not saying it will happen.
Okay.
Because that's never been a motivator for us to do what we do. If I cared about that, I would not play the style of music that we do. I'd play a much safer bet.
Makes sense.
I've always made music, and everybody who's in the band has just made music to do what they want, so that we can do what we want and be happy with it. And it doesn't matter what people think. If they like it, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If they don't like it, that's great. They don't have to listen to it,
Okay.
hopefully. And we can be proud of it. Like, even if every review in the world says that it sucks, at least we'll have something that we know that we're happy with. So I don't know that will make a band huge or will not make a band huge, but I would never ever make any decisions based off of that. So I have no expectations for anything like that.
And do you have any release date yet fixed, or any title for the record?
The title of the record is Periphery 2.
Okay.
This time it's personal.
Okay.
The release date is, we don't have an official release date, but we're aiming for like late spring, early summer.
Okay, so we're pretty much close to.
It's close. We just have to finish up a few things when we get back, and then it's promo time. So.
And what's next?
After we get home, we have 3 weeks at home to work on the album, where we have to finish it, and then we go on tour with Protest the Hero.
Okay.
Which will be a fun little tour. So that's a U.S. tour, though.
Great.
Hopefully we'll be back in Europe before the end of the year. Knock on wood. I don't see any wood here. There we go. But no guarantees on that. There's nothing set in stone yet. But we do really well in Europe, and we want to keep coming back.
Okay. So do you want to leave any special message to people which is
for
watching?
The Italian fans?
Yeah.
Italian fans. I know that you guys probably don't know us so well, and we only discovered you last night, but we love you. You guys are one of the best crowds that we've played. We definitely want to come back a lot, so please come out to the show, whether it's tonight or the next time we're in town. We'll party and have a good time. See you there.
Thank you, Misha. Thank you very much,
so
man.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.